As you may have guessed, that joyride ending was mandated by studio boss Darryl Zanuck. And that's not the only thing screenwriter Buzz Bizzarrides had grafted onto the end of his original story. The climactic scene in the roadhouse, where Nick gives Figlia his comeuppance, was not in the novel. In his book, Bizzarrides took a more literary, ambiguous approach, leaving readers dangling as Nick takes off after Figlia, crazy for revenge. But he refused to show the vicarious thrill of retribution because he felt no real victory had been earned. Nick ended up as cynical, angry, and hard-hearted as the crooks he despises. Still, director Jules Dassin managed to wring every satisfying drop of suspense out of that scene, despite that ineptly inserted shot of the cop preaching the law to Richard Conte. As a studio, 20th Century Fox was especially guilty of these stilted square-ups. On the other hand, Bizzarrides and Dassin did manage to sneak a few things past the production code. A viewer would have to be pretty naive, even in 1949, not to realize that Rika is a prostitute, an occupation the PCA did not allow on screen. The scenes between Conte and Valentina Cortese in Rika's crib are enticingly erotic, as the filmmakers use clever ways to subvert the code. Now, while there were rules against women exposing too much flesh, the opposite did not apply. Cortese playing tic-tac-toe on Conte's bare chest? Hey, no rule against that in the code, and it makes for one of the sexiest moments in any film of the era. Bizzarrides and Dassin didn't agree on everything, however. Buzz argued against the casting of Valentina Cortese, claiming the character was written to be an average American woman driven by hard luck into prostitution. Buzz thought it was a perfect part for Shelley Winters. He claimed Dassin romanticized the character as an Italian refugee because he was having an affair with Cortese. Well, sorry, Buzz, I'm with Dassin on this one. Cortese was unique in American movies. Darryl Zanuck chose to sign her from among several earthy Italian actresses who came to Hollywood right about this time: Sophia Loren, Anna Magnani, Silvana Magnano, and Gina Lollobrigida. But Cortese was distinctive, with an angular grace rather than a voluptuous figure and more sly humor. Amazingly, she didn't speak English. She learned all her dialogue phonetically. Cortese made only a few more pictures in America, including The House on Telegraph Hill, which was also shot on location in San Francisco, before she moved back to Italy. She went home with an American husband, actor Richard Basehart, who kept acting during his years abroad, famously co-starring in Federico Fellini's masterpiece, La Strada. Valentina Cortese would years later be nominated for a Supporting Actress Oscar as the aging diva who can't remember her lines in Francois Truffaut's Day for Night. She is still with us, living in Milan, the grande dama of Italian theater and cinema. The character of Mike Figlia is one of the most gregarious, slimy, and believable villains in all film noir, and Lee J. Cobb bit into the role like a juicy golden delicious. This was by far his most vivid movie appearance to date, and it served as a warm-up for arguably his most remembered role, Johnny Friendly, in 1954's On the Waterfront. At the time of Thieves Highway, Cobb and Jules Dassin were best buddies, a friendship that would end, bitterly, when the actor named Dassin as a communist sympathizer in a closed-door session with the House Un-American Activities Committee. The two never spoke again. As for our leading man, should it come as any surprise that Richard Conte's actual first name was Nick? By my count, Conte played a guy named Nick at least 6 times in a career that spanned almost 100 movies. And if he looked comfortable handling that ramshackle rig, it's because he was a truck driver before being discovered by Elia Kazan and John Garfield while working as a singing waiter in a Catskills resort. Now, if it seems I'm giving short shrift to Conte, who gave one of his best performances in Thieves Highway, it's only because he'll be back on Noir Alley many more times. After all, he made 18 films that could be considered noir. Sorry to say you won't see me back here next week or for the entire month of August. as TCM presents its month-long Summer Under the Stars. You can always keep the dark flame burning by visiting the Noir Alley Facebook page or checking in with us on Twitter. You can also make plans to enjoy Film Noir live, as my own Noir City festivals are coming to Chicago, Detroit, and Washington, D.C. this fall. Check out the Film Noir Foundation website for schedules. Now, that'll do it for me this summer. And remember, if you want to be cool, stay in the shadows. See you in September.